This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Good morning. I don't hear you though now.
You don't hear me?
Oh, there you
Oh,
are.
now I do.
Okay.
Now I do. Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Sean's laptop's got a life of itself. Anyway, yeah, that thing is running on its own. Anyway, somebody was asking me because they're in Orlando watching the show, and they're asking me if Messi's going to play, and I said, nah, I don't think so. I think he plays tonight, and then he plays for the U.S. Open Cup because it's a week later. But, I don't think we're going to see Messi from here on out on all these games in between and short rest and all that stuff. There must have been some kind of a scare in Argentina, not an injury, but a little tweak or something that they said, time to hit the brakes here on this crazy run. So fill us in. What's going on? Am I right or am I wrong?
Well, there's no way to know because no one tells you anything, and we don't have access to Lionel Messi, so we can't ask him how he's feeling. Tata, all we can do is rely on the coach, Tata Martino, and he basically says he's fatigued, he's tired, he's 36 years old. He played 14 games in 48 days, so that's one game every 4 days. They now have a stretch with one game every 3 days over the next 3 weeks. So it's very difficult to play Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, Sunday, Wednesday. It's hard for anybody, but for a guy like him, first of all, he likes to play 90 minutes. He doesn't like to come out. And he's 36. So, the load management or whatever you want to call it is going to be a big part of what Tata is going to do right now, because Lionel Messi does want to play in every game. I mean, that I've heard from people. He wants to play all the time, every minute. He never wants to come out. So Coach Tata said yesterday that it's his job as the manager, especially at this point in the season, to help these guys make difficult decisions. So, I have no way of knowing if he's going to play in Orlando. Nobody does, to be honest. It's going to depend. How long does he play tonight? Does he come in tonight and just play part of the game? Does he play the whole game? Is it a physical game? Is it not? What are the weather conditions? Is there going to be a thunderstorm tonight? Is there going to be a 3-hour rain delay? I mean, there's no way to project Sunday. We don't even know for sure what he's doing tonight. I mean, I think that he's going to play tonight. I think it's probable that he'll start the game tonight. To be honest, they need him more against Orlando than they do against Toronto, which is a last place team that has only 4 wins.
Yeah, but you need him for the U.S. Open Cup. So yeah. You're not going to play him on that Sunday before the Wednesday, right? Is it Sunday or Saturday?
It's Sunday, Wednesday. It's Sunday.
You're not playing him that Sunday to then play him on Wednesday with the scare that they had. So my guess is he plays tonight, but he ain't playing against Orlando. And basically by them saying that they're focusing on the U.S. Open Cup more than the MLS playoffs at the moment, that kind of tells me that they're not going to wear him out. So my guess is that. Would that be your guess? If you had to guess.
Yeah, I mean, Tata, if I had to guess, yes. Tata has made it clear that the U.S. Open Cup is a chance to get a trophy. It's one game. It's one game, a chance to get a second trophy into the trophy cabinet, which had 0 trophies before. It would now have 2 in the span of a month. Then after that, I think after that starts the real playoff push, starting with the New York game, and all the games that are leading after that. I think at that point, once they go and play that U.S. Open Cup, that I think they have a chance to win it. It's at home. It's in Houston. I think they feel it's a chance to win a cup. It's a one game. The chances of making the playoffs are slimmer, obviously, than winning one game. So, obviously they want to do everything. They would love to win the treble. They'd love to win 2 trophies and then go and make a playoff run, get into the playoffs, see what they can do, all of that. And that's what the fans want. That's what all the players want. Obviously, that's what Tata wants. I think right now, as the manager of the team, he is saying what is most important right now this week and next week. And I think he will play tonight because he has not played for Inter Miami since September 3rd. And let's be honest, I don't think that they're necessarily influenced by Apple, but Apple paid $2.5 billion to have him on. The U.S. Open Cup game is not an Apple product. That is a U.S. soccer event. That is not an MLS event. So that will not be on Apple. So, I think they would like to have him on Apple sometime, in the next few days. Again, I don't think that Tata necessarily is basing decisions on that, but, I think he probably will play tonight. He probably will start tonight and maybe not play against Orlando. Definitely will play the U.S. Open Cup final because Tata has been making a big deal about what a big deal that is and how important it is to try to get a second trophy. And then after that, I think then they can, see where they are at that point in the standings, see where they are after Sunday and how realistic is it to try to win out the rest of their games, which is what they would probably have to do.
And it's a pair, right? It's not just Messi, it's Alba, right? It looks like you're getting one with the other, whether they both rest or they both play.
Not necessarily, because Alba played the game before when Messi didn't play when he was out. I'm not sure what happened. I'm not even still convinced that it didn't have anything to do with artificial turf. I mean, they say it didn't, but who knows? You know what I mean? The fact that they both chose to sit, the fact that neither one of those guys is familiar with artificial turf, the fact that Aaron Rodgers had just lost his season Monday prior, and it was all over the sports news on ESPN and everywhere that Aaron Rodgers is out for the year, after an injury on turf. Who knows what played into it? Again, we can sit and we can speculate. We don't know because we don't really get honest conversations with these athletes. We don't get conversations, period. But even if we did, they can say whatever. Tata can say, Tata loves Atlanta United. He was a coach there. He went on and on about what fond memories he has there. He's not going to sit there and rip that team or rip that stadium for having artificial turf. He has a great relationship with Arthur Blank and with that club. So he went out of his way to say that it had nothing to do with artificial turf. But do we know that for a fact? No, we don't. We don't really know anything. We really don't know anything. We make educated guesses is what we do.
Do they? What do you guys tell them about like Messi having no access to the number one star in the entire league and in the team, a guy that the most important player, and he rarely ever talks.
He's only spoken once, right?
Yeah.
Which is one more than he did with PSG for the whole season. I'll be honest, we've discussed it just yesterday. Actually, we're discussing it with the media relations department, and they are working with Messi's publicists and handlers that are not here. They are, they've been his handlers from way back, from Barcelona days. The truth is there's an adjustment period from a media standpoint. None of the guys over there, none of the guys in Europe do daily media. None of the guys in Europe talk on game days. In Europe, when they say mix zone after the game, what it means is they put up a backdrop. If you watch EPL or La Liga, whatever, after the game, there's a backdrop that goes up, right, and the rights holder stands there with a microphone, and one or two players and the coach come over and talk. That's it. They don't talk to the media that are non-rights holders. This is a very new concept. The idea that athletes and coaches would speak to non-rights holding media. That just doesn't happen in the rest of the world. When you own the rights in the rest of the world, you get exclusive rights to talk to the athletes, to talk to the coaches. The rest of the
but that's in other countries. That's not here in the United States. See, the problem is that the rest of the world only has one sport. We don't play like that in this country. In this country, we have all kinds of sports. You know what? He should at least do a Harvey Green quarterback special. Harvey Green would give you the quarterback once a week, and once you knew Tuesdays. It was right. You knew it was what day it was, what time it was. Or
whatever, not Tuesday. Tuesday was the off day. Wednesday, whatever. Wednesday. It was Wednesday. You would get one day. Here's what you're going to get: 10 minutes. Ask your questions. Boom.
And that's it. And at least the superstar, the quarterback, because everybody else was available normally. Although Jason Tatum and Zach Thomas Zach was available a little bit more. I could get Zach on Fridays sometimes. But, at least do that, man, once a week. I get how they do things in the rest of the world, but we're different here. We're different than every
We're
other
pushing for
country because every
Right.
other country only has one major sport. Really, some countries might have a second sport that's pretty decent, but not like us that we have several major sports. It's
plus
completely
college
different.
sports. Plus we have college sports here too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we are pushing at the moment. We're pushing for once a month. He hasn't spoken in the month of September. He spoke once, which was August 17th. We are waiting. It is possible that maybe he will speak next week around the U.S. Open Cup final, because that is going to be a big game for them, a chance to hold up the trophy. We have been pushing the local media who cover the team every day. We've been pushing for an availability in the month of September, which is running out in 10 days. So maybe next week we'll get a chance to talk to him. But it's difficult because like this whole stretch where he left for the national team, then didn't play against Bolivia, came back and trained. He was at training last week,
Yeah.
but they were very coy about whether he was going to play, not play, travel, not travel. It finally came out because he posted an Instagram photo of a pizza box of a pizza place, a pizzeria in Miami Beach, an Argentine pizzeria. Night. That is how everybody found out. He posted a picture of a
Yeah.
pizza box from Banchero, whatever, pizzeria at Miami Beach. And then everyone's like, uh-oh, he's not in Atlanta. He's eating pizza in Miami. And then, the world went crazy and everyone started then critiquing the pizza and what the pizza doesn't look good. The pizza is good. The pizza, that's how Argentine pizza looks. Well, our pizza is better, whatever. So it turned into a big brouhaha about the stupid pizza. But that is how we're learning information about Leo Messi because he's posting a picture of a pizza box. That's how we find out that he didn't play in Atlanta. This is what we're dealing with. What can I tell you?
Yeah,
This is reality.
It's pretty. It's pretty. By the way, I'm really proud of Campana.
Oh yeah.
Man, have you been able to talk to him to figure out how do you figure out his body because he's staying healthy and knock on wood here, because that's really his only thing. And the way he's played, and they really need him to be a stud right now. On those moments that 10 isn't on the pitch, they need the guy that's a threat, and he's the next guy that is a true threat for this team.
Oh yeah, I mean he's been scoring. He's had 3 braces. He said, he's playing great right now. He's absolutely playing great. I think he was a little bit hurt that he didn't make the Ecuadorian national team for the recent games. I know that he was kind of thinking that he was going to be on that roster and he wasn't. So I know that that's a major motivating factor for him, especially when 9 other teammates made their national teams. Some of them are teams that are not as big and not as big, in the grand scheme. But the fact that 9 players on Inter Miami made their national team and Leo Campana was not one of them, that hurt him. So that is a motivating factor for him. He is dying to play for the national team and to be in the picture for the next World Cup. And he's going to be the perfect age and everything. So that's a motivating factor. They just signed him on Friday to a contract extension through the year 2027 with an option for 28. So they are showing, they're showing him some love with what he's done recently. I think it may be writing on the wall for Joseph Martinez. If you look at the game against Atlanta, I thought maybe Joseph would play more because it was a home
I thought he would start. I thought he would start next to Campana because obviously his former team, and that'll give him a lift. And you really needed a spark in that game.
Coach and Tata was his coach in Atlanta and all that stuff. He didn't come in until the very end. So I think the way that Leo Campana is playing right now, his height, what he adds to the attack in the air is something that no other player has. It's a very short team. I think only 3 players are over 6 feet tall on this team. One of them is Chris McVeigh, who rarely plays. I think Ryan Saylor. There may be 4, but a couple of them are guys who have not really had many minutes. So, Leo Campana is one of the only tall guys on this team. And Sergio.
You mean Breck Shea's nowhere to be found?
No more Breck Shea for that height, for those air balls. So anyway, yeah, I think Campana has really lifted his game. He's stayed in great shape. He said at the beginning of this season that he has a new, sort of a new exercise regime recovery. He's very focused on his recovery. He was always fit. I mean, his body was chiseled and he looked like like a Roman statue or whatever, but Greek statue. But he was getting injured a lot, and he would play and do great and then injure, play and do great and injure. Robbie Robinson also has been staying healthy, but has not really had a chance to show much. So yeah, I don't know what his future is going to be. You're cutting him, okay?
Yeah.
We'll
No,
see what happens.
I cut him already a while back. I've given up on Robbie already. I just don't think Robbie. I see the thing I like about Campana. He's a tough son bitch, and he shows it out there. Robbie has no edge to him. I think Robbie just. I don't know. He looks like a mama's boy, basically to me. He just doesn't look like a kid that wants it. I don't see a dog out there, And when I watch some of these other kids that they brought in, those under 22 guys, they play with fire, bro. And that's and I got to see that out there on the pitch. And I know Robbie has the gifts. I've seen it. I've watched it. I know he has the gifts, but it takes more than that. There has to be some kind of a fire and a desire that you've got to play the game with, and I just don't see it with Robbie. So let me ask you, Toronto today. What's the challenge for Toronto tonight for Miami? Because
Toronto's the last place team. Toronto's the only team that has a worse record right now than Miami does. Miami has 8 wins at least. They have 4. They only have 4 wins. They're coming off a loss to Vancouver. They did beat Philadelphia 3-1. So you have to look at that and say, okay, they were capable of beating. They beat Philadelphia 3-1, but they've only won 4 games all season. They have, Michael Bradley is on that team still and starting after all this time. They have the 2 Italian stars. The big deal last summer was when they signed the 2 Italian stars, Insigne and oh gosh, the guy with the long name, defender. Anyway,
yeah.
You know
It hasn't worked out.
Federico. Yeah. So the Bresciani. Anyway, they have 2 very talented Italian players. When they signed them, they were 2 of the highest priced signings. Bob Bradley was the coach then. It was a big deal. They came in last summer and everyone made a big deal. As it turned out, it was maybe a little too late for last season. They didn't really work things out. Then Bob Bradley got fired. They have an interim coach now. The Canadian national coach is going to take over this team. So it's a team that is in transition. It's a team that's in a bit of upheaval at the moment. So, and the game is in Miami. I believe Messi will start tonight, play whatever. This is a game that Miami absolutely should win. They're playing the last place team at home with Messi and conceivably Messi and Alba both. And Toronto is a team that's really in flux right now.
And you're really not the second worst team in the league. Miami's way better than that. Their record doesn't indicate how good they are right now. It's just the record that they have at the moment, unfortunately.
It's the record that they had before the summer overhaul.
Right.
So they inherited the last place record. Right. This is a team that inherited the last place record. Since then, in the league, they have 3 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie.
Right.
In the league games, and then obviously the tournament games, they were playing MLS teams. They were playing MLS teams and beating all those teams. So they've been beating MLS teams now since July 26th or whatever. But in league play, they are 3-1-1 since the league resumed, and presumably they should be able to beat Toronto. This is a game they should win. They should get 3 points tonight, close the gap a little bit more. They're to 7 points now. They have to make up 7 points in 7 games. They have to leapfrog 5 teams to get to the playoff line, and that is 7 points in 7 games.
Well, let's hope they get it done. Follow her on Twitter, by the way, at Koff Sports, as always. Catch her work there at the Miami Herald. And, of course, catch her doing her thing here weekly with the EJDconstruction.com InterMiamiCF report. Michelle, enjoy the football tonight. We'll be watching, hoping they pick up a big victory.
Thank you. Thanks. I want to say one last thing.
Yes.
Since I'm dropping my podcast tomorrow, that'll be a post-game analysis. So this was your pre-game. And tomorrow, if you want some post-game comments from me, I have a podcast called Inside InterMiami that the Miami Herald is producing along with Andre Fernandez. So that'll be tomorrow. So enjoy everything I said today. And then I'll have a little more to say tomorrow post-game. So we'll see what happens. Thank you so
Beautiful
much for
thing.
having me. Thanks for tuning in. And thank you to EJD Construction.
There you go. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate you immensely. There you go. EJD Construction. Call my guy, Eric. They will take care of you. 305-433-4843. Custom home construction, major home remodeling. Go to their Instagram page at EJD Construction. You can see a lot of the before and after stuff, and it'll blow you away. You might see my home, too. You'll see. If you see one that has a putting green on the side, that's my house there. Got my putting green in the backyard. Got the artificial turf for the doggies and all that. And, you know, the backyard's like an oasis. And you can do the same thing, bro. Check it out. EJDconstruction.com.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.